If you could erase bad memories entirely from your brain, would you? That may sound like science fiction, but it's actually a reality and it has been done. You can map out a brain and see how it's behaving as it has an experience. And once you understand the pathways involved in positive and negative memories, you can directly activate those neurons to turn on or get rid of the memory. Mice will forget positive associations and negative just with the activity of a laser fired into a brain. Yes, it does sound kind of similar to something else. There's multiple ways to do this, and we'll talk about it. Now, there has been some concern around using this particular technique in people because it's not really been well studied. Yes, it has been repeated in a few different labs and seems relatively safe for the mice, but in people, that would require genetic engineering of an adult. The idea is that this would be used for psychiatric conditions that don't otherwise have any treatment, so to save a life. Genetic engineering of adults has happened several times. If you recall, sickle cell anemia was cured, and we do have new clinical trials for things like hypercholesterolemia. Yes, gene editing for high cholesterol, a thing. But we are kind of talking about genetically engineering brain tissue just so it will respond to lasers. I mean, there's not a lot of light in your head, so that may not be a concern, but it really should be well studied more, I think, and a lot of people think, actually. If someone had that procedure, you would also essentially be able to perform mind control under the right circumstances. But fear not, this is not the first time we've considered altering brain activity in the name of treating mental health conditions. There's been deep brain implants for everything from depression to Parkinson's. It's really effective. And unfortunately, while it has saved lives, there's a lot of problems with it. It's very difficult to bring a medical device to market. It's easier to get it into a clinical trial, but most clinical trials never go to market. So once that trial is over, who does the implant belong to? Unfortunately, it usually belongs to the research group or entity that performed the research. They have a great deal of liability if they leave the implants in, so it's in their best interest to remove it. Unfortunately, the patient's best interest is usually not the biggest concern. So some patients have had it removed against their will because you cannot force someone to get a medical procedure, but you can promise to sue someone if they don't give it back. Now, unfortunately, if you're in a medical trial that involved putting implants in your brain, chances are you were at the end of the road. There were no other options. Now, a good lawyer might argue that that original contract is not enforceable, that the person who signed it was not in a good place when they signed it, or they didn't fully understand it. There has been a push to make medical trials more ethical because, yes, they are for people who have no other options, but once the trial is over, they don't really have anywhere to go. A medical trial is very rarely a cure-all. While I used to be really excited for treatments like bionic eyes, I have also seen companies who make them go out of business. So having the government sponsor it, having a university sponsor it, or a company, there seems to be no really good ways to make sure that people have ongoing care. So I do want to ask, if you could have your memories, all your bad ones, just gone, and you could be assured that they could be turned back on later if you missed them, would you do it? Because that seems very likely what this treatment is going to look like. And I do understand that if you build it, they will come. Somebody is going to want it. We should probably consider the ethics of doing it before we get there.